All right, political analyst Asanda Ngoasheng joins us now via video link to unpack this. Well, let's start with the DA, and good afternoon to you, Asanda. So Geordin-Hill Lewis says he's been approached to stand while federal leadership refuses to speculate, as we've just been hearing. What does this suggest to you? I mean, does it suggest a carefully managed succession, or does it point to somewhere else or something else, particularly when you look at, the leadership vacuum, or, is it concentrating rather on local government elections at this time?
Good afternoon. I think that it's not a surprise that, Cape Town Mayor would be touted to be the next leader of the DA. This is something that has been known to those of us who spend a lot of time watching politics, that he was being groomed for this role, because you'll remember that he was one of the people who was part of DASO and then went on to become the chief of staff of Helen Zille when she was premier of the Western Cape, and has basically been groomed as Helen Zille's favorite ever since he joined the party. And if he does indeed take up the leadership, he will be following in Helen Zille's footsteps, who herself was a DA leader while also being the mayor of Cape Town for 2 years when she held the mayorship.
I want us to talk about, just some of the utterances that John Steenhuisen said. I mean, he says he helped the DA form the Moonshot Pact, shedding its image of shouting from the sidelines into a party that gets stuck in, to fix the country we all love, were his words. Taking from his mission accomplished statement, help us briefly unpack what he has accomplished exactly.
Well, I think he's got a mixed bag of accomplishments. And, he did move the party from 16% to 21.8% in the last election, which is a big growth for a for what was initially a small political party like the DA. And he has, played a very important role in the government of national unity. We saw him seeming to be the calm head at times when there were rumors that Helen Zille was the one throwing her toys out of the court. It seemed that he was the one who was the calming voice and ensuring that the GNU was able to continue, even when at times it seemed like things were about to break down. But the biggest issue with both Steenhuisen and the DA at the moment is that it's actually becoming more a Zille party than the Democratic Alliance, because she seems to have quite a big influence on who is in power, how they govern when they are in power, and where the direction of the party is going to go. And if you look at the number of terms that she has had as federal chair and the number of leadership positions that she has held since she herself first became the leader of the DA after Tony Leon, it really has been a long time, and raises some questions about the DA's constitution, that she continues to be allowed to lead for more than a decade without giving other people the opportunity. And even now, when you look at the way that this is being done, it's being very carefully orchestrated, taking out one of her favorites, replacing him with yet another favorite, which then means that all those people who have spent so much time in the DA are very clearly being told that they have no place in the DA unless Helen Zille points to you as, the successor. You are not going to go anywhere in the political party. If you think about even the fact that the number of names that can even be put forward in terms of the DA are so few, despite it being a political party that has been around since 1994, the number of leaders that get put at the front continuously shrink, because there's a carefully managed, kind of perception around who can and who can't be a leader, and who is allowed and who isn't allowed to even have leadership ambitions. We've seen a lot of Black leaders, for example, Mbali Ntuli, Phumzile van Zyl, and many others who have left the political party because they rose and rose, and once they seemed to be gaining bigger popularity than what the DA deemed acceptable to them, they were very swiftly kicked out of the party. And so my fear at the moment is, who are the Black politicians that are going to find themselves very swiftly kicked out of the party after the so-called party contestation for the head takes place. So if Kwahube tries to compete, if Soli tries to compete, will they be able to survive the contestation after? Because the DA generally doesn't, show that it's going to kick you out until after they've used you for showcasing a diverse panel of leaders while knowing that they are going to appoint their white candidate. And at this point, that white candidate, I would say, very much likely to be the current mayor of Cape Town.
Yeah, you spoke and touched on Helen Zille and her influence a lot there, Asanda, and I want to actually, just dive-tail into what's happening in Johannesburg at the moment, just hearing there from Patriotic Alliance, Kenny Kunene, saying that he has what it takes to turn Johannesburg around. I mean, beyond the political visibility, what concrete track record does the PA bring that would prove it can really manage a complex metro like Johannesburg?
Well, I think, the PA is currently holding the Ministry of Arts and Culture, and they seem to be making sure that they are very visible in that role. And they have gained a lot of popularity, particularly in the Cape area. And they have competed quite hard with the DA and won some metros there. And as Kenny Kunene himself has said, they seem to be a political party that's growing by leaps and bounds. Kenny Kunene himself, I'm not sure exactly what it is that he brings, being the man that comes from eating sushi out of, from women's bodies to now and running, and running entertainment clubs to now being in the hot seat in the city of Johannesburg. There's already been allegations about him being connected to some very dangerous people who are now the subject of the policing commission. And so I don't know what good it would be for South Africa to have a mayor, should he be chosen, that could end up in jail or back in jail again because he's been in jail before. So I think the issue is not so much whether the PA has shown itself to be capable of leadership or has been, shown itself to be trusted by people, but it's more that the PA has had a past that is about brushing, negative brushes with the law and their connections to people who are alleged to be dangerous criminals who have been party to abuse of power in South Africa's policing system does not bode well for giving such people the entire fiscus of the biggest economy in South Africa. It would not bode well at all for South Africa as far as I'm concerned.
All right, thank you so much for your views. The political analyst Asanda Ngoasheng joining us just to unpack some of the political stories that we are covering for you this afternoon.